I don't care what broke us up. We know that we weren't good together.
The fall of Robyn Brown and her children came like a thunderclap no one expected but everyone whispered about. Once the prized wife of Kody Brown, once the one who held the biggest house, the best cars, and the spotlight in the family, she now found herself standing in the cold Flagstaff air with everything stripped away. Neighbors first noticed the subtle signs. The expensive SUVs that once sparkled in the driveway were gone. The blinds remained closed even in the middle of the day. Robyn's house, once the most alive of all the Brown homes, seemed abandoned, its silence deafening. Soon it wasn't whispers anymore. It was fact. The bank had seized everything tied to Kody Brown, including Robyn's mansion. And in that single blow, her world collapsed. On the street outside, cameras rolled as officers handed her the foreclosure notice. Robyn clutched a single box filled with her children's belongings, tears streaming down her face as the realization sank in. She muttered words over and over, desperate to wake from what felt like a nightmare. "This isn't real. My children need their home. This can't be happening." But the bank didn't care, and neither did the thousands of viewers who had spent years watching her enjoy luxuries while the other wives struggled. The internet erupted. A viral post summed up the sentiment with cruel precision. Robyn thought she won. Now she knows what it feels like to be the last one on a sinking ship. For years she had lived like royalty, draped in designer purses and nestled in custom furniture, adored by Kody as the others faded into the background. But those days were over. The bank stripped it all, the cars, the electronics, the artwork. Even the Christmas decorations Robyn claimed were sentimental treasures. A witness described her sobbing as movers carried away the last ornaments. The children stood silently in the driveway, watching their lives packed into boxes and carted away. Dayton's face was drained of all expression. Aurora looked down at the ground, biting her lip to hold back tears. Brianna held Ariella close while Solomon fidgeted nervously. They were silent, but the heartbreak was loud enough for the world to hear. Where was Kody? That was the question everyone asked. Where was the husband who had once promised security, the man who had claimed to lead his family with strength? The answer came swiftly, and it was damning. Reports revealed Kody wasn't even in Flagstaff. Instead, he had retreated to a friend's ranch in southern Arizona, leaving Robyn to face the humiliation and the storm alone. To make matters worse, a leaked voicemail hinted at blame. In the recording, Kody's voice was sharp, almost bitter. "I gave you everything. Everything. And now it's gone. Maybe if you hadn't pushed for that Flagstaff house." The message cut off abruptly, but the damage was done. The man she had defended and chosen above all others had turned the blame back on her. The children, who had always stayed quiet in the background, suddenly found their voices. Aurora went live on Instagram, her face pale but her words determined. "People think we're spoiled. We're not. We never asked to be the favorites. We didn't ask for any of this." Her words cracked with emotion, and then Dayton added, softly, "All I wanted was peace. Now I don't even have a home." For the first time, the public began separating the children's pain from Robyn's choices. Sympathy swelled for them, and fundraising efforts popped up online. Donations came in from strangers across the country who didn't want to see innocent children suffer for their parents' mistakes. Still, when it came to Robyn herself, the backlash was brutal. One fan group declared, "Karma has finally reached her." Another wrote, "The kids are innocent, but she's not." Meanwhile, the other wives didn't stay silent. Janelle, always grounded, appeared on a tell-all episode and admitted she had seen this disaster coming. "I begged Kody years ago to get things in order. He wouldn't listen." Christine, now remarried and glowing with happiness beside David, Wooly delivered a scathing verdict of her own. "You favored one wife, you ignored your other children, and now even she has nowhere to live. That says everything about your leadership." In a surprising twist, Christine and David reportedly opened their home to Robyn's children temporarily, but not to Robyn herself. Christine allegedly explained, "We have space for the kids, but Robyn has to face her own decisions." And then there was Meri. She didn't need many words. On Instagram, she posted a single cryptic message. "Sometimes the tower has to fall before the truth comes out." Fans immediately interpreted it as a dagger aimed at Robyn. Later, on a podcast, Meri confirmed what many suspected. I was made to feel less than. Now the one who was always treated as more than is living what we lived through for years. The shift was seismic. Robyn, once the protected queen of the family, now stood exposed, her tears filmed and broadcast for the world. TLC cameras, always hungry for drama, caught every moment. Season 19 was already meant to focus on tragedy and fractures within the family, but this foreclosure turned into the ultimate headline. The footage of Robyn dragging luggage into a budget motel while trying to comfort her sobbing children became one of the most haunting scenes ever captured. Exhausted, makeup smudged, she turned to a producer and whispered through tears, "I'm not the villain. I'm a victim too." But few believed her. The polls that followed painted the brutal truth. 80% of the audience sympathized with her children. Only a small fraction spared any pity for her. To the public, her years of favoritism had finally caught up with her. She had once been the winner in Kody's game of polygamy. Now she was the biggest loser.
Of it. It was out of grief and pain and failure because I didn't know what I...
Kody Brown appeared at Janelle's doorstep looking like a man who had been chewed up and spit out by life itself. His hair frizzed, his eyes hollow, and in his hand only a battered duffel and a folder bursting with unpaid bills. Gone was the charming patriarch America had watched for over a decade. Standing before Janelle was a broken man clinging to whatever pride he had left. Janelle, his voice cracked, barely audible. "Can we talk?" Janelle didn't move. She didn't smile. She simply pulled her sweater tighter across her chest, her silence heavier than words. It had been months since she last saw him, months since she had drawn the line in the sand during season 18, grow up or get out. "What kind of help?" she asked, her voice cold and steady. I need help," Kody finally admitted, his words trembling. His empire had collapsed. The Flagstaff mansion, gone to foreclosure. Coyote Pass, seized. Lawyers drained him dry with inheritance battles. And because nearly everything had been tied to Robyn's name, he was left with nothing. No assets, no house, no support. The banks had come, not gently, but with fury, and they took it all. Kody's downfall was now impossible to hide. He had once been hailed as the clever planner, the man managing 4 homes, 4 wives, and nearly 20 children. Now, he was penniless, desperate, alone. And yet he turned to Janelle, the woman he had sidelined for years, believing she might still care. Of all his wives, Janelle had always been the most grounded, financially sharp, disciplined, and independent. She had done the family's taxes, built her own businesses, and even lived off-grid in an RV, by choice, not necessity. When she divorced Kody, she didn't collapse. She simplified, rebuilt, and invested wisely. No luxuries, no drama, just security. So when Kody showed up at her door, irony hung thick in the air. Janelle didn't hold back. "For years you put Robyn above everyone. You ignored my kids. You dismissed me every time I tried to speak, and now you're standing here asking for help?" Kody's voice cracked again. "I just need somewhere to stay, just a little time to figure things out." But Janelle's eyes hardened. "This is my home. I built this life without you. Don't think you can waltz back in now that you've lost everything." The exchange quickly spiraled into a shouting match, raw, unfiltered, and captured by TLC cameras. "You chose this, Kody," Janelle cried. "You legally married Robyn. You funneled every dime into her house, her kids, her lifestyle. You let the rest of us drown." "I gave everything to this family," Kody shouted back. "Robyn was the only one who stood by me." Janelle laughed bitterly. "No, she just told you what you wanted to hear." The tension peaked when Kody dropped to his knees, sobbing. "I'm losing it all. My kids, my wives, my home. I don't even know who I am anymore." Tears welled in Janelle's eyes, but her voice stayed firm. "Maybe it's time you find out, but don't drag us down with you." Her words cut deep. She reminded him of the years her children, Gabriel, Garrison, Hunter, and Savannah, had cried out for his love only to be ignored. "They were invisible to you," she said. "Do you think I've forgotten that?" Kody pleaded. "I'm here now. I want to make it right." But Janelle shook her head. "Too little. Too late. My kids needed you then, not now." Later, in her confessional, Janelle's voice trembled, but her words were steel. "Kody thinks he can fix everything with a speech, but scars don't heal like that. I won't let him wound us again." Christine called soon after. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," Janelle sighed. "He showed up at my door like a ghost, begged for money. I told him to leave." Christine's voice cracked with both anger and relief. "He asked me the same thing last month. Wanted David to loan him $5,000. Can you believe it?" Both women laughed, but it was a laughter born of bitterness and years of pain. "He's lost," Janelle finally said, "and he wants to drag us all down with him." Meri finally sat there in silence, her face pale but her eyes sharp with the weight of years she had carried alone. The tension was so thick it almost drowned out her voice when she finally spoke. "You think I stayed silent because I was weak?" she began, her words cutting through the room like broken glass. "No, I stayed silent because I thought silence would protect what little dignity I had left. But Kody, you destroyed everything I ever believed in. You didn't just break our marriage, you shattered the family piece by piece until nothing was left but the mess you created." Her voice trembled, but her anger gave it strength, shaking everyone around her. Kody shifted uncomfortably, his usual bravado suddenly slipping. He had always been the man of control, the loudest voice, the center of attention. But here, in this moment, he was being confronted by the woman he thought would never dare challenge him. Robin's eyes darted nervously, her hand clinging to his arm as if trying to anchor him, but even she couldn't shield him from the truth that was spilling out. For once, Kody was silent, his face a mix of rage and fear, unable to find a comeback. Meri continued, her voice breaking, but her words sharper than ever. "Do you know what silence does to a person? It eats you alive. It robs you of yourself. You told me to be patient, to stay loyal, to endure. And I did. I endured more than anyone should ever have to. But now I realize all I was doing was protecting you while you were busy destroying me." Her words weren't just accusations. They were a confession of survival, a declaration that she would no longer live in the shadows of Kody's choices. Christine, sitting nearby, nodded with tears in her eyes, the pain of recognition clear in her expression. She too had walked through the fire of Kody's neglect, but hearing Meri speak so openly felt like an earthquake, shaking the very foundation of what remained of their family. Janelle glanced at Meri, her lips pressed tight, torn between sorrow and relief that Meri was finally breaking free of the silence that had bound her for so long. For years, they had all whispered in private, but never dared to speak aloud in front of Kody what Meri had just unleashed. Robin tried to interject, her voice shaky. "Meri, you don't understand. Kody has been under so much pressure, But Meri cut her off with a sharp glare. "Don't you dare defend him, Robin. Not today. Not after everything. You wanted him all to yourself? Congratulations. You got him. But don't try to rewrite history and pretend like I wasn't sacrificed so you could have your perfect little world with him." The room froze as Robin sank back, her face burning with humiliation. For once, the narrative wasn't in her hands. Kody finally tried to speak, but his voice cracked under the weight of the moment. "Meri, that's not fair," he began, but the words hung in the air, weak and unconvincing. Meri's laugh, bitter and cold, cut him off. "Fair? You want to talk about fair, Kody? Was it fair when you pushed me aside? Was it fair when you humiliated me in front of millions, calling our marriage dead while I still held on? Was it fair when you made me feel invisible, while you paraded your new life with Robin in front of all of us? Don't talk to me about fair. You don't even know what the word means." The silence that followed was crushing. Kody looked like a man stripped bare, his defenses crumbling. For the first time, the others saw him not as the powerful patriarch he had always pretended to be, but as a man exposed, caught in the wreckage of his own making. Meri had broken the silence, and in doing so, she had broken the image Kody had built for decades. And she wasn't done yet. She leaned forward, her voice low but fierce, every syllable burning. I am done protecting you. I am done protecting this false image of family you cling to. From now on, I will speak the truth. And if it destroys what's left of your empire, so be it. Because the only thing you destroyed, Kody, was us. And I won't let you silence me anymore. Her words hung heavy, a final nail in the coffin of everything Kody thought he controlled. The room stayed frozen, the weight of her truth pressing down on every soul present. For the first time, it was Kody who was silent, powerless, speechless, and cornered by the very woman he thought would never dare to stand against him.